With me tonight is Nathan Brown. He is the author of Two Tables Over, which is a finalist in the Oklahoma Book Awards. He was a finalist last year. And he is a poet, musician, performer, and photographer from Norman, Oklahoma. And you do some great poetry. I haven't heard you play music, so I can't say about that. But I would like you to start by reading one of your poems. And we talked about Behind Every Good City.
Okay.
Santa Fe used to be one of my favorite cities a long time ago, which is why I enjoy that poem.
All right. Okay. Behind every good city, Santa Fe sags under a colorful load of artists and idiots. Both are in strong supply, and the line between is blurred. And we're all fine as long as we never pause to look in the eyes of the butt-busting minimum wagers, the homeless teenagers, or the Indians who sell jewelry in front of the Palace of the Governors, because they are the blood of this place, flowing unseen through its clogged veins. They are the true officers of the city's sacred trust. They speak in whispers and laugh at the artists and idiots who saunter by with braided ponytails and big hats pulled down over their eyes.
Now, when you wrote that poem, was it because you had been to Santa Fe and you said, I've got to write a poem about it, or did it just happen to you one day?
I have gone to Santa Fe almost every year of my life since I was 2, and so that makes pretty close to 40 now, I hate to say. And so because of that long-term relationship, I've always loved Santa Fe. But going once or twice a year for so long, I'm also very well-versed in its darker, less pleasant sides. It definitely has a problematic nature now. And it's kind of a sad city, but it's still sort of a beautiful city too. And if you know your way around, you can avoid the artists and the idiots. But it's pretty tough because they're everywhere. They're crawling all over it.
Right. Well, it's still a beautiful setting.
It is.
You can look up at the Sangre de Cristo or look at the Jemez and maybe forget about the idiots.
Well, you can drive in any of several directions and pretty soon be in some pretty wonderful places.
Right, right. So that must still be the attraction to it. Now, do you write poetry every day?
I write every day. I have for many years now. And basically, I write a poem every day. On any given day, if I happen to miss, I have to write 2 the next day. But there's one for every calendar day of the year, which means that there's a lot of junk. But you eventually maybe get around to the good stuff. So.
Well, there's quite a bit of good stuff in here.
Thanks.
Now, did you pick out all of the poems to be included in this?
Yeah, for me, it's most of my books are whittled down from several hundred, and so I try to take several hundred of my favorite babies and then kill a lot of them, and those few that are left and mangled are the ones that wind up in a book.
Well, you could look at it this way, like a sculptor does. He just takes away the unimportant part and leaves the beauty. Right,
you do have to chip away quite a bit, and some of it's pretty painful. You think, oh, that was a really wonderful line, but it's a really bad poem. Yeah. It's got to go.
Yeah, well, then that really involves a great deal of self-criticism, which I think a lot of us are not very good at. Did you have to work really hard to be able to see your poetry that way?
I do, and I have a few. I have that really small circle of good friends who are usually pretty good at going ahead and dropping the hammer when it needs to be dropped, and but that's a real tight circle of very close friends, and we do it for each other. Jim Chastain, is a great friend of mine, and boy, he'll let me know. Yeah. I try to do the same for him. So, yeah.
Right. Well, I think that's very important because sometimes it is hard. As you said, you call them your babies. Sometimes it's hard to say.
Anne Lamott has always referred to it as killing your children when editing. That's how she describes it. So, yeah.
Well, one of the other poems that I marked in here is Soon to Be. And I found it very interesting because it's about a particular kind of person that I'm not too impressed with, which is young girls.
Yeah, there's actually a chapter in this book called Poems They Asked Me to Take Out. Yeah. And, you know, and I took most of them out, but there were 4 that I said, no, it's going in, it's going to have to. But yeah, I write in coffee shops a lot. I mean, you know, inspiration walks in the front door, and some people take me to task for the cynicism and the, you know, the sort of jaded look at things, but I call it honesty.
Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes other people are just annoying.
Yeah, I let cell phone talkers have it in my writing. I allowed cell phone talkers. Yeah. I had a girl who gave me her Social Security number once, just sitting next to me in a coffee shop. I said, "Wow, okay." Home address, phone. She was setting up electricity in a new apartment or something. I don't know what it was. So.
Well, that's better than the ones who say, "Oh, I'm not doing much, just shopping," and you want to...
Yeah, well, you can always tell. Well, I'm at the coffee shop. Yes. Yeah. I have said out loud once or twice, I knew that.
Right.
Yeah. Just loud enough for them to hear me. Yeah. Yes.
Well, I'm not sure they do. They're too busy on their cell phones. Another one that I found particularly intriguing was Love and Forgiveness.
Ah, okay.
And what inspired that one?
Well, I grew up a Baptist preacher's kid, and I joke with people that but I survived. I'm okay now. Yeah. But the honest, the other side of that, though, I have to say, is that my dad was a great man. He was a wonderful man. He's now one of my biggest fans, and actually reads all my books and edits and helps with. But the culture was something that I never got along with. There were so many things I couldn't buy into. And I think where that poem lands at the end, I'm trying to remember the wording on the last stanza there.
Bombing any who disagree into oblivion. Yeah,
how we made Jesus, first we killed him, and then we made him all the rage. And then those who did not join in on the rage, we bombed them into oblivion. That's a very bad paraphrasable. But just that Christian culture, it's very difficult for me to imagine how we cannot see ourselves within our culture, how we are not exactly the same thing that we malign and fear in another culture. Mm-hmm. We're the other side of a coin, and I just can't see how we can't see that. And so a lot of the poems, I'm afraid, come out about that.
So. Well, maybe we need Jim Chastain to tell us, no, that one's not working.
Yeah. No, it was one of his favorites. But Jim is maybe sometimes worse than me when it comes to that. Yeah, when it comes to that particular kind of thing. So, yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right.
Bye. Nathan Brown has been here talking about Two Tables Over. You can find it at your library and your favorite bookstore.